Thank you, Drew's Views, for the prompt. I'm sure people will be totally normal about this video. When coming up with my OCs for Helluva Boss and Husband Hotel, I asked my husband what sin he thinks I embody. I asked multiple people as well, and I got mixed answers. After all, who more than me would know myself better? I was unsure because, like many aspects in life, I would tear myself down in small bits. Yes, I am slightly envious, slightly gluttonous, but not a single sin was more dominant than the other. When I couldn't decide wholly, I went and researched the contrast, the 7 heavenly virtues, and decided whichever one I embody the least will be my respectful sin. And my husband was right, because my strongest virtue is definitely humility, so pride could not be my sin. But out of all of them, diligence was the one that I knew I could improve in my life. So sloth it is. Unfortunately, there hasn't been much sloth representation in Helluva Boss for me to base my OC off of their respective race of the ring, so I am taking a lot of creative liberties here. And I'm saying this because when researching sloth demons, the only ones that would come up on Google was Balfagor and this DeviantArt account making a crossover with the Loud House for some reason. What's going on here? Hold on. Okay. Back to the video. So I named this OC Nyxia, a sloth imp. And yes, I know most sloth imps are of the bleating kind, but let's just say she's a hybrid and move on, shall we? She is a regular citizen of the Sloth Ring, and she does tarot readings and divinations for a living. However, she does not know smack about tarot cards or divination rituals at all. She's what you call a con artist. She could not be asked to learn her craft, so whoever comes to her shop gets to hear whatever they want to hear. You get to stay delusional, she gets to eat a muffin for lunch. It's a win-win in her books. Now to address my actual feelings about the franchise and its spin-off show, The Husband Hotel.
Just as a disclaimer, I do not intend to defend or glaze Vivsipop in this video. I personally have no strong feelings towards the show or her, neither positive or negative.
Stop hating Husband Hotel for like a second. Are the haters okay? Dear patrons and esteemed guests, I know Husband Hotel and Helluva Boss is written by a controversial person. I know there's much drama surrounding Vivian, her personality, her beliefs, her cringe jokes. I know I'm asking many of you to set aside your personal grudges and think subjectively for a minute as you hear me out on this, which can be hard. But I have a genuine question for anyone who is a hardcore hater of these shows. Are you okay? Don't get me wrong, you're allowed to not like someone or something. You're allowed to be passionate about what you hate, but some of you are borderline obsessed. This obsessive need to find some dirty secret about a stranger online just because they're famous is creepy and cannot be healthy for you. Imagine being so mad about someone else's success, you go out of your way to make up lies about them or dig up dirt from years and years ago, cyber stalking them, rage baiting them, and taking pride in it too. Do you genuinely wake up and the first thing you think about is how you're going to ruin this person's life? Or die trying. Last time I was as passionate about someone's downfall as some of the haters. I was in high school, stuck in the same classroom as a girl who based her entire life on hating marginalized minorities to the point of wishing and encouraging violence and death upon them. Declaring her only intent in serving her mandatory military service, dedicating herself to eradicating them from existence. I could not stand how casual the majority in the classroom was about this, how apologetic they acted towards that kind of behavior, laughing it off, calling her crazy. But no one was actually stopping her, not even the teachers. At no point was she taken out of class for disrupting it and calling for violence. That was the last time I ever was a hater of anyone. But the big thing to remember about it was that I had to share space with her. I was legally required to attend school and share a class with her. But Husband Hotel haters forget, you don't have to share your space on the internet with people you disagree with. You can block anything and anyone that you don't like and never encounter it again. So dedicating a whole section of your heart to hate something you choose to engage with is something I found really bemusing. I don't want to tell you what to do, because you won't listen anyway. However, I would like you to consider this cannot be healthy for you. While it's important to have ways to cope with negative emotions, and choosing a scapegoat to dump all your problems in life on is the easiest way to do it. Have you considered actually tackling your grievances? Going to therapy and figuring out what actually makes you feel so mad? To illustrate what I mean, let's take an example from our topic. Beelzebub design and Helluva boss. The complaint from many is that the design is overcomplicated, doesn't make sense, and seems like a nightmare to animate. While all statements are true in their own right, why does it have such a large impact on you as the consumer? You wouldn't want to animate this, right? But no one's making you. The design doesn't make sense to you. It's unsatisfactory to you, but you're not the one getting backlash for it being nonsensical. You could disengage at any point, yet you choose to stay and express negative emotions because something is deeply bothering you. And this piece of media is an easy scapegoat. You could express as many negative emotions as you want here, without being judged for them, because the community of people who are troubled just like you have agreed upon this piece of media to be their place to express all the hate they accumulated in their personal lives and directed at something they consider low stakes. The shows or Vivian as a complete stranger to them, and they don't care if her feelings are hurt because they'll never interact with her. I urge you to look deeper into yourself and realize that you are enabling a self-sabotaging coping mechanism. Instead of actually facing whatever is bothering you in your personal lives, you are seeking the approval of other troubled people who are bothered by their own problems. I know this because I used to be just like that, but instead of taking my anger out on shows I didn't like, I took it out on my only safe space, my husband, and he did not deserve a single drop of bad mouthing I gave him. I ignored my own troubles and what made me miserable in my own personal life, because keeping the status quo was top priority for my survival. But the resentment and suffering was still there. Every night I would call the only person that ever made me feel happy at the time, and I would tear down into how he didn't make me happy quite enough, and doesn't meet my expectations. How he didn't magically fix my life. Perhaps that's how husband haters feel about the show. Like, they like the concept of the show so much, they expected it to fix their lives. Maybe that's why so many of the critics are so mad about the long wait. They waited this long for a show to magically make them happy, and they discovered that the show couldn't do that. Not because the show is necessarily bad, but because they are asking something impossible out of it. They are asking a piece of media to pull them out of whatever is making them unhappy. And I know it won't make sense to many, because people who project their negative emotion towards undeserving targets don't do it consciously. If you told me at the time that I was mad at the wrong person, I'd tell you exactly in which direction you could fuck off. My husband was my ticket to paradise in my eyes, and he couldn't save me fast enough, never considering that I misdirected the hate I had from the very person that made my situation so shit that I needed saving in the first place. Nowadays, I'm living happily with my husband. I have little to no grievances left. I am thriving because I stopped scapegoating my husband and started fixing my life. You'll discover how much happier your life can be once you find what exactly makes you miserable and cut it off. I encourage you, if you came here to tell me how your hate for the show is warranted, stop typing a moment and think, what is actually bothering you in your immediate surrounding? I know it won't be as simple as your room being dirty, but if looking around and thinking about your dirty room makes you unhappy, perhaps you should clean it. This all ties back to the fact we are glued to our phones, and our communities are online. It's unhealthy, especially if your community is based around hating a piece of media. You're allowed to escape your situation mentally, if not physically, but if you're unhappy, you should have a plan on how to move forward and make your life better. You should not waste your energy on hate. If your survival is hanging on by a thread, you should find something to love, even if you don't think it's that deep. Just know that I believe in you. You can be happy, and you'll find your own paradise. It'll be hard, but it'll happen. And I'll be here when you're better. That's a promise.